this is how you equip two fighting styles at the same time. And this is how you send yourself flying across the map. These are a bunch of Blox Fruits facts that you must know. Okay, so this first trick is something that's super overpowered if you know how to use it properly. And I'm talking about having 8 people in a raid. And you might be wondering, how the heck is that possible? Because everyone knows that in Blox Fruits, you can only have a max of 4 people per raid. But there's actually a trick to have 8. And for this, you're going to need 4 people that have the love fruit. And once you have the love fruit, you have to equip the flamingo ride ability. And once you do that, you can actually get people to ride on your flamingo and then start the raid while standing on the pad. And if all 4 players do this, there will be 8 people that are teleported to the raid area, making it really overpowered because the raids will be really easy to complete with 8 people. And I don't think that Blox Fruits devs intended for there to be 8 people to do the raid in the first place. Overall, a really overpowered trick because it makes your fruit awakening life and grinding fragment life much easier. Okay, for this next one, it's just a pretty interesting fact about the bomb fruit. Everyone knows that the bomb fruit is probably one of the worst fruits in Blox Fruits. There's actually a cool thing about its final self-destruct ability that you should know about. And the thing about this ability is that the longer you hold down the key for the ability, the more it charges up and the bigger the explosion at the end. And if you charge it up completely, it actually does the highest knockback out of anything in the whole of Blox Fruits. And if you team up with a friend, you can use it to launch yourself off to really high places that you're not supposed to be able to get to. Overall, just a pretty interesting fact, and I doubt you're going to be using it that much. Okay, so everybody knows about the barrier fruit in Blox Fruits, but did you know that one of its abilities is actually really overpowered if you know how to use it properly? I'm talking about the C ability, Barrier Prison. This ability has a 90 mastery requirement, and basically what it does is you shoot out a huge barrier ball from your body, and if you manage to trap a player in it, you can control and move them exactly where you want them to go. And if you're fighting a player next to water and you use this ability on them, you can use it to shoot them super far into the water, and then once the ability dismisses, they're just gonna fall in water and they're just gonna die to it. Well, unless they don't have a devil fruit, but I doubt that's gonna be the case because 99% of players in the game have a Blox fruit equipped. Overall, just a pretty interesting PvP trick, and it's really rare that you're going to be using this. Every Blox Fruits players love chests. It's a really easy way to get your hands on some quick cash. But there's actually a secret location that a bunch of chests spawn at that not many players know about. And this location is on the second sea in the first area. All you have to do is walk over to this bridge over here, and then you'll notice that the wall here is actually shaped a bit differently. And all you have to do is use a breaking ability, or you can just flash dip inside. And once you get inside, you're going to notice 3 golden chests. And it's also a pretty decent hiding spot if you're trying to get away from some bounty hunters. But then again, if they have observation hockey activated, then they can see you go inside the place and just follow you inside. So overall, just a pretty good place to get some chests. Everybody knows about the movement ability with the awakened dough fruit. It's the roller donut. But did you know that transporting you is not the only ability that this donut has? I didn't know this at first, but the donut can actually do damage and drag players along with you if you do it correctly. So all you have to do is just to run over an NPC or a player, and as long as you're angling the donut properly and the player is moving in a specific direction, you should be able to drag them along with you. You just kind of take them for a ride. But it takes a lot of skill to do it for a long amount of time because most of the time they just fall off after like 1 or 2 seconds. Overall, just a pretty funny ability that you can use to troll your friends, or if you're just kind of bored, you can go try it around with NPCs. Alright, moving on, I'm going to be showing you how to get a boat on land. Well, you can't actually move the boat around too much on land, so it's a pretty useless trick. But anyways, let's get into it. There's actually 2 different ways to do this. The first method is using the Fishman Island teleporter. And this one is the easiest one by far. All you gotta do is equip your boat of choice, and then you just have to drive it into the teleporter. And then the boat will teleport with you, and it'll just start glitching around on land. And if you try and walk into it at the right angle, it'll actually launch you back super far away. The second way to do it is by using the control fruit. All you have to do is make the normal dome with the control fruit, then you gotta levitate the boat and drag it over to the land. And with this method, you can actually choose where you put the boat instead of the previous one where you have to use it at Fishman Island. So if you have the control fruit, you can pretty much do it anywhere. But overall, this is a pretty useless trick because I don't think anyone's trying to ride a boat on land. So everybody knows about the chop fruit in Blox Fruits. It's regarded as one of the worst fruits by the whole community. It's a fruit that costs a total of 30,000 belly or 100 Robux from the Blox Fruit dealer. But overall, this might look like a pretty bad fruit, but did you know that it actually has a secret passive ability that a lot of you might not know about? And that passive ability is not being able to take damage from any sword attacks. And this doesn't just include the passive M1 ability from swords, it includes all of their skills. Like imagine the X ability of the Dark Blade not doing any damage to you just because you have the chop fruit equipped. Overall, this is really situational, and most people only use it if they know they're PvPing against a sword main, or you can use it to grind against sword enemies, because no matter how high their level is, they won't be able to do damage to you. Okay, so this next trick is going to come in handy you a lot and just help you in general with your Blox Fruits journey. And it's being able to equip any fruit at any time. And obviously for this trick, you obviously have to have the fruit bought permanently from the Blox Fruit dealer. Once you do this, you actually don't need to go back to the Blox Fruit dealer to equip that fruit permanently. You can simply just click on your settings, open up your shop, click this button right here, and then you can equip any permanent fruit that you have. You can literally change it out anytime. Imagine you're just in a situation where you're about to fall into lava, and then the last second you change into the magma fruit, so you don't take any damage from this. I mean, I doubt that's ever happening to anybody, but just in case it does happen, you know what to do. And overall, it's just a really useful thing that just makes your life 10 times easier. Okay, so for this next fact I bet you did not know is there's a way to equip 2 fighting styles at the same time in Blox Fruits. The way you do it is you either have to have the Dark Step or Death Step fighting style, and you have to have the final ability unlocked. But I recommend getting the Dark Step fighting style because it's a lot easier to level it up. Once you do that, you unlock the transformation ability Overheat. You're going to notice that your legs set on fire. What this ability does is all the damage you do with that fighting style increases by a good amount. And then once you do this, you're actually going to talk to an ability teacher for a different fighting style, the Sharkman fighting style or the Electric fighting style. And then all you got to do is equip their fighting style, and boom, you have 2 fighting styles at the same time. But I'm not actually sure if the buffs from the Dark Step stack onto the Electric fighting style. That's something you guys have to test out for yourselves. Yeah, so everybody knows about the Phoenix fruit in Blox Fruits, and everyone also knows about its X ability, Regeneration Flames. This ability requires the 90 mastery and it heals you like crazy, but it does use up a lot of energy. Another thing is while it's healing you, it spawns this huge aura around you, but there's a way to actually glitch this aura and make it stay permanently. So all you have to do is simply use this ability and walk onto a boat, and once you get out of the boat, you're gonna notice that the ability stays, and you can actually do this multiple times and you'll create this huge lag ball around you. And if you do it enough times, you actually won't even be able to see your character. But just don't do it way too much because it's gonna lag the crap out of the server and your computer, and you might end up crashing the server. So do this one at your own risk. Okay, so next up we got another fruit fact, and this is something that's super cool and I did not know existed. It's a trick to do with the bomb fruit. Everybody knows about the bomb fruit, and it's the ability called landmines. As long as you hold the key down, it'll create a huge range around you where a bunch of landmines spawns in, and if someone steps over it, they take a butt ton of damage. But did you know there's actually a way to place these landmines in the water and not just on land? What you do is you just walk over to the closest ledge next to water that you can find, and then you just hold down and use the landmines ability like normal, and then boom, half your mines will be placed on the water instead of on land. And you could catch people that are swimming out in the middle of the water, but I don't think people will be doing that. Overall, just a pretty fun ability to use, and it's something to use if you're fighting against people without a fruits, because they're the only people that are going to be in the water. Okay, so next up I got another fruit fact, and this one's about the Falcon fruit. Everyone knows that the Falcon fruit is one of the few beast type fruits in the game, and once you use the transformation ability for the Falcon fruit, this is actually a secret that not a lot of people know. It's the fact that you jump slightly higher, which lets you get to places that you're normally not supposed to be able to jump to. Overall, just a really minor fact, and I don't think it's worth buying this garbage fruit just to jump a bit higher, but it's just a fun ability that you can explore around with. Okay, so next up I got a hidden location for you first sea players out there, and this is a place that's pretty difficult to find. So on the first sea, when you head over to Marine Fortress, there's actually a secret location inside of this tower. All you have to do is climb up it, and then you can actually climb down into the tower. And once you do that, you're going to be looking at an NPC named Polaris. And what this NPC does, he sells you a black cape for 50,000 belly, but you have to be at least level 50 to buy it. And that shouldn't be a problem if you're in the second sea or above. And even most first sea players are above level 50. And overall, it's just a pretty decent accessory for first sea players, but keep in mind only for first sea players. So later on, once you get better accessories, you should probably stick to using those. Alright, now I'm going to be telling you a fact about cyborgs in Blox Fruits. Did you know that there's actually 4 different things in Blox Fruits to do with the cyborg? The first one is the cyborg race, and everybody knows and loves this race. It's one of the best races for grinding in the game. And the way you get this race is by completing the cyborg puzzle. And that takes me on to the second cyborg, the cyborg puzzle itself. And for this one, you gotta find the Fist of Darkness and just do a bunch of other tiring stuff, which lets you unlock the cyborg race. Now moving on to the third cyborg in Blox Fruits. This one is the cyborg boss NPC that can be found in the first sea, and is the second last boss of the first sea. The cyborg is a level 675 boss, and it can be found at the workshop house. He also has a 2.5% chance of dropping you the cool shades, and he spawns in every 30 minutes, just like every other boss. He has a total of 43,000 HP and does around 600 to 700 damage per hit. Overall, just a really tiring boss for every first sea players. Then the fourth and final cyborg is the malicious cyborg NPC, and this is an NPC that can be found at this area behind the factory on the second sea, and he'll sell you a flower ship for a total of 1,500 fragments. Some of you might be wondering what the flower ship is, and it's just a pretty decent boat, but if you have the faster boats game pass, then you won't really be needing this one.